Welcome to this edition of the eClinicalWorks podcast. I'm Adam Salati. When the COVID-19 crisis hit, many practices that had been dipping their toes into advanced practice capabilities were forced to make a rapid transition from on-site care to an online presence. One of the areas most affected by this change was the front office, and many practices recognize that a reinvention of the front office is necessary to succeed in today's new reality. Here to speak with us about what role these online capabilities will play in the new normal as offices begin to reopen is Rakhee Langer, Vice President, healow. Rakhee, thanks so much for taking the time to be here with us.
Thanks, Adam. Thanks. Very good to be here.
So Rakhee, let's begin with a discussion of what has changed for the front office and what capabilities are practices realizing that they need.
That's a really good question, and it's quite a realization that all of us are coming to. One of the biggest changes that we have noticed is on the provider side and on the patient side, there is a need for efficiencies to come in and play a big role because there's so many changes in how patients are, even nervous to go see their doctor. So the whole concept of online scheduling is playing a very big role at this time.
It seems like this is part of an overall shift to a digital front office. And how that will play out, I think, is going to be very, very interesting. So online appointment booking, you mentioned, how would this process work for a practice that is facing this new reality?
This is a wonderful question because I think a lot of our doctors are really nervous whether their schedule is going to be flooded with patients just booking appointments. They're unsure how the experience is going to work for them and for their patients. But I think the software comes with very good capabilities of any form of customization. So they have a very good control on what they want to publish. So if they decide to have Mondays and Wednesdays as maybe televisit hours, they can do that so that they can only offer televisits at that time, or they can actually say that if there is an open slot, go ahead and publish it. So there's many different ways that they can set up that schedule so that a patient can see what is available to be booked online and can go ahead and book the appointments.
Now, the booking of the visits is only one part of the process for the front office. Of course, another piece of this is that when patients do book their appointments, they were used to showing up and, maybe filling out some information.
Right.
How is that information going to get collected now that patients aren't going in face to face?
So the concept of being able to get their check-in done ahead of time plays a big role. So, whether it is a contactless check-in, how you make sure that there are questionnaires that can be completed. So there's really, from a televisit standpoint or from an on-site visit. So it could be either of them that the online schedule will be published and the patient can go ahead and book an appointment. If it is a televisit, which continues to grow at this time because patients are still looking to be at home and if possible be seen on a televisit because that has proven to work out very well. The patient is given a list of questionnaires to complete. What are the symptoms? It could be specific to that. They can also pay their copay online so that the complete front office routine that was happening can be shifted online. Now, on the other hand, if it is an on-site visit and a patient has to actually be in the doctor's office, they do have the option of going ahead and completing all of this through an online check-in. It is contactless. They don't have to walk up to the front office. They can complete all their intake questionnaires and be ready to be seen by the doctor.
Yeah, and we did cover that contactless check-in process in more detail in another video. We'll provide a link to that below in this particular interview. And the online payments, is a big component of that. Really making sure that the practices collect on that revenue at this time, I think, is more important than ever. As offices may be trying to rebuild their volume.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Rakhee, you mentioned televisits, which I think when we're talking about scheduling is a pretty interesting topic. A lot of offices, I think, are facing additional responsibilities and requirements between visits. They might need to add in extra time for cleaning. They might want patients to, not linger in the waiting room at the same time. How do televisits fit into, what practices may need to be doing to adjust for those things?
That's an interesting dilemma in a way for some of the practices, but I think they have definitely done a good job in spacing out the patients, but also making sure that the technology that they have started utilizing, like televisits, is something that can help in completely using their schedule for visits that can be done over televisits. So one of the interesting findings is the fact that there are services that can be offered very efficiently by the doctor over televisits.
I heard there are some other exciting new capabilities that have been brought into that televisit experience to make it more robust for the practice as well. Can you share some of those?
So screen sharing is a big feature that a lot of our doctors are looking forward to, which we have actually rolled out. So the customers, our doctors, can actually share education material. They can share their screen essentially and have a conversation with the patient, very relevant in terms of what both of them are looking at. So they can focus and discuss lab results, X-ray reports, growth charts, education, essentially everything on their screen, so that they can share that with the patient. In addition, we also have the virtual waiting room where patients can actually go ahead and easily start a visit from, let's say, a doctor's website and wait for the doctor to join. And like I mentioned a little earlier, to be able to pay for the visit online right before starting the visit makes it a lot more streamlined, because that was the process that the patient was used to, the doctor's office was used to be able to shift it all online is also a capability that has been rolled out.
I heard the use of trackers has also increased with this shift to telehealth. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. The trackers is where a patient would be able to track all of their, different, whether it's a weight or a blood pressure, anything that they've either connected with the device or they're manually tracking it. It helps sort of present this data to the doctor as well. So programs such as remote patient monitoring, and there are some, value-based programs that some doctors are participating in. This helps to have that relevant conversation with the patient. Both of them are looking at the same thing. They're able to see that the weight change for a CHF patient, it has stayed where it should. The blood pressure for a hypertensive patient, either it is changing or it has stayed, it is in control. Things like this become very relevant and helpful for both the provider and patient to look at. The access to that tracker data within the EHR is a very big deal, obviously, because the doctor can see that same information that the patient has been recording. So they both are looking at the same data set.
I think an interesting aspect of that is that those trackers can show the provider a trend of those readings over time. So it's not just what is the reading right now at the time of the visit, but what has it been in the past, and is that showing some sort of a concerning trend? Of course, for patients and providers who are looking to acquire these tools, those are, of course, linked directly inside the app so that they can open up that section of the healow app, select the tracker that they would like, and then order that directly from the manufacturer. Rakhee, these are all great capabilities that we've been talking about here. I think a lot of practices are going to be excited to make use of these. There's certainly a lot of application these days, more than ever. But what is on the horizon for healow? What are we going to be seeing coming out soon?
The online scheduling, there would be a few more enhancements to make sure that it probably helps with any form of efficiencies on the online side of it, for sure. On the televisit side, the nurse being able to start a visit on behalf of a doctor, that can help, again, as close to an on-site visit, make it online, because the entire process will help both the patient and the doctor, whether it was the nurse actually completing the histories and getting all that information prior to the doctor seeing the patient. That would be another feature rolling out fairly soon.
Well, that's certainly exciting, and will we also see the capabilities to add in other providers as well to the visit eventually?
Yes, that would be that would be where we'd like to go. Group visits and being able to have some form of a counseling, nutrition counseling, nutritionists, and maybe even multiple providers. A group visit essentially with either many people on the patient side or on the doctor's side. That would be something that we'd like to get that out too soon.
Well, Rakhee, we're certainly looking forward to all of these upcoming features. And of course, many of the things that we discussed are available today. You can get those right now. And if you'd like more information on any of the topics that we've covered here today, you can check out my.eClinicalWorks.com or reach out to your strategic account manager. Or Rakhee, perhaps there is an email or a contact method that you'd like to suggest for groups looking for these?
The my.eClinicalWorks that you mentioned, Adam, works great because we make sure we put out all the information on our support portal so that all our customers can read up about it, learn about it, and reach out to us. So that would be a great avenue for them to get all this information.
Glad to hear it. Well, Rakhee, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today. It's been a great conversation.
Thank you. Same here. Thank you so much, Adam.
Be sure to check out our other eClinicalWorks podcast episodes on iTunes, YouTube, and my.eClinicalWorks.com. For the eClinicalWorks podcast, I'm Adam Salati, and thanks for watching.